panelists on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, and it's indeed a pleasure and a privilege to be among all of you talking about this important area called digital government or digital gov. And, if you see the schedule, I'm not there in that list. It was supposed to be Dr. Andreas Tege. I'm here because of his enthusiasm. So, yesterday he came from Germany, and we had a lot of meetings, and I was really enthused by the kind of enthusiasm from the global world to pass on the knowledge and information. And unfortunately, the same enthusiasm went in having Indian food, and that's how today I'm here, because he is now sick, and I have to take this forward. Now, so what I intend doing in the next 10 to 15 minutes that I have been given is to start from where we are today, and I don't intend focusing on what we have achieved, what we can achieve. What my focus of the presentation is, how do we take it forward? How do we take it forward? And from that perspective, within how I can focus on the enabling environment that will make it possible, or I can even focus on the operational issues that we have become so used to in the process of introduction of IT in government as we have gone about. To me, we are at a very critical stage in this country as far as digital agenda is concerned. We have gone through the initial experience thanks to the beautifully structured national e-governance plan. Thanks to our experiences, we have seen almost the variety of experiences that was required to set a stage for the next wave of leapfrogging. I think we are at a very critical stage. And second thing that we are that's important about this timing that we are in is the huge push. And as Mr. Tripathi said, government is becoming industry. And today, and all of you, those who are from government, but there is one thing that is not there with the decision makers in government, that's time. There is a hurry to perform, there is a hurry to do, and the cycle time for reduction of decision making actually has gone down. Now, this is the agenda then I kept as to, let's see, what is this vision that we have been talking about in terms of digital government. And when it comes to the realization of this vision, I want to restrict myself to the enabling policy environment as to probably what can now push in terms of the management of large programs that we are having, and also the enabling policies that will make it happen. From my perspective, the operational issues we have tackled, we have handled, and we are well versed now in terms of how do we handle operational issues. And finally, I want to leave in the last slide on probably what are the areas of collaboration given this stage that we are at, and leapfrogging where industry can collaborate. So we have been traditionally used to partnering with government, and government is traditionally used to. Now at this stage, what is the new shape of industry collaboration? That's what I want to leave as I finish my presentation. Now, when I talk about the challenges, I believe these are all age-old challenges which we have been grappling. More important is, all of us now today we understand the why part of ICT. Everybody understands. There is no discussion that is required. What needs to be done also is pretty clear. This is the how part that has suddenly become very important. Now, we know what is required, what are the citizen expectations, how things are changing. Most importantly, how do I take it forward? How do I take it forward? And that's where the two key angles of what I mentioned. One, a program policy, what do I do there? Second, when I manage these programs and policies, what's the structured way of managing each individual? And that's the broader agenda. Now, if you look at where we are, we have done fantastically well, and let's be proud of where we have come today. Talk of a project on UID, which country has done that? Talk of the complex passport issuance systems that which country has done? Now, where we have come, we're still, at a stage wherein, while we have had ICT in government, still the citizen has some confusion about where to go, how to go, who is the right person. And when it comes to government, there is a big shift, there is a big change, I would say the big change in culture within government. In terms of, siloed applications, the separate systems that government is to deal with, and the result is still there is a lack of insight, still there is a lack of transparency, despite all the investments. And I'm not being negative, but I'm saying that there is a huge scope for improvement on this. And most importantly, if you see the latest trends, the budgets are shrinking, the decentralization of implementation actually going to the ground level. These are big shifts which are making it more important for government to actually think of new ways. Now, what are these new ways? We call it a 5x5 strategy for public services. The objective is to improve governance, to empower users, to involve community, to bring in innovation, and to get safety and security. The enabling technologies for the same, analytics, that's the next wave, applications, replicable, standard applications which can go, which can improve the efficiency and speed of implementation. Mobile to us is the way to go. Cloud will be, and I'll talk about it in detail, and then finally the traditional technology and databases. This is what, now if you look at the current vision, if I can summarize, the flagship programs, the Make in India, Digital India, Skill India, and Smart Cities, and supported by a big push on infra, enabling taxation environment, and the Clean India initiative. If you see, we have a vision, a holistic picture in place. It's only the holistic canvas in place. It's only the way we paint is going to determine how do we take it forward. Now, here are some of our learnings, in terms of the project and program management. It's a common experience that we have gone through in all the, particularly the e-governance initiatives. We have done the projects first and then measured whether we have achieved or not. Now, it's time for us to have a rethink and set predefined, measurable criteria on which to measure the performance of these projects. And we have all these large programs which offer ample opportunity to rethink and reshape the way we will measure. A smart city program, what will be the KPI, what will be the key results area on which we measure. The time is now to revert to first establishing that and then implementing a program. And in the earlier cases, we have done e-governance, we have done projects, we have done the assessment later. Second, the capacity building. Now, we have done this as a parallel initiative to implementation in the earlier so far. So as the projects happened, we trained people. As the projects moved on, we added skills to them. Here is a chance now for us, given this vision, given that the projects are at conceptual stage, to build capacity even before the projects start rolling out. That's the second, this. And third, we have no time now to reinvent the wheel every time. We have no time to reinvent. Otherwise, this next wave, which asks for speed, will actually call for, and if this becomes a crash before takeoff situation, it will be a disaster in waiting, right? Let's move with speed and get into, and I'm not saying please get one industry's replicable solution. Get solutions which can be replicated rather than reinventing. And obviously, the traditional, recommendations that everybody will give in terms of breaking the silos and top-down still remains very relevant. Now, here is the key point that I want to, highlight. If you look at the 4 programs, it's I'm just taking 4. You can add the 5th also. It's not that these are siloed programs which can be managed. There is a big linkage. Digital India, Skill India. Without the skills, smart cities will not work. Without Digital India, now what I'm trying to say in this, it's fantastic to have these individual components, these individual programs. It's important to have an overarching, holistic integration framework among this so that the replication among each one of this doesn't go waste. Now, to give you an example, the Make in India policy reform will lead to a smart city being facilitated. The manufacturing hubs as they're created. Similarly, the digital India, the integration of service delivery will actually help in, a single application for smart cities. That's the way, probably a holistic kind of, overarching structure to create, which will help an integrated, and I'm repeating the word, integrated management of all these 4 initiatives. Now then, what do I do? What does it mean? What does it mean? And since this particular event on ICT, I would like to focus on ICT policies. Now, let's create an environment wherein the ICT policies, the environment fosters this integration that I'm talking about. And most important to us going forward is the cloud computing. Now, the policy on cloud, and let me tell you, we are all debating, we are all discussing as to how cloud can be taken up, how cloud can actually work. There are enough examples, and yesterday I was discussing on the standards for cloud service providers or standards for cloud, and we observed that there is a plethora of standards. Now, how do I do that? Which standard in cloud is applicable for me as an organization? As large organization, I can actually take the liberty of hiring somebody and letting me know. But imagine in the country, a larger SME segment, how will they decide? Now, what probably, and good thing is, enough examples of this type exist elsewhere. In the European part, they have developed a tool for me to find out if this is my criticality level, these are XXXY standards. For us to leapfrog, there is enough information available on each one of them. Second to us, we developed, when we actually did the e-governance exercise under the leadership of Mr. Chandrasekhar, we developed the e-gov roadmap for everything. I think time has come when we need to develop m-gov roadmap for everybody. From e-gov to m-gov, or maybe an integration of e-gov to m-gov, that's the key, one. And next wave of the implementation is on IoT. Release the policy, let's be done with this. Let's come out with immediate plan on how are we going to implement IoT or Internet of Things. There is a policy in place. All of you would have seen the draft policy in place. Maybe linking the M2M policy with this. And most important, and everybody on the dais is seized of this is the effective participation by industry. Now, what does it mean? It means re-looking at procurement guidelines, re-looking at procurement options. Now, left to us, it would be a separate IT procurement guideline vis-a-vis a separate services. But if you go for IT, it will open a Pandora box as to why not consulting, why not this. So we kind of refrain. But procurement reform is the key, and the cybersecurity policy. Now, these 5 areas would enable the way we want. And in terms of creation of a business environment, we feel if GST gets implemented, that will help in a big way. A separate pillar on smart cities in the capacity building initiative will be a big help. And obviously, the much talked about single window G2B services. Now, this is where if we have these in place, probably we have an environment, we have an umbrella under which we can actually work in. Now, so the next question is, where can industry come in? Where can industry come in? And this is the last thing that I want to leave you with the thoughts. So one, we need to be mindful of India-specific and localized requirements. Our 9:30 event starts at 10. That's a fact. There are these localized requirement. One big area for industry that is a potential is the skill transfer and capacity building. Talking about SAP, for example, on Internet of Things, we have developed course curriculum for universities to build skills on Internet of Things. Now, the objective is twofold. One, we get Internet of Things trained manpower. Second, the government and the skill base that is required. That's one big area. Now, say similarly on analytics, on big data, and almost every industry today, through their university alliances programs or otherwise, is actually helping in developing the youth level skill and also the employed population skill. 3 areas on the pillars. One, the new technology, which is the traditional contribution by industry. Second, the policy in terms of consultation and providing inputs. And third, the experiences of global experiences on program management. That's the way, and if you see on the left side, some of the examples as to where industry can contribute in terms of Industry 4.0 for SMEs, for government clouds, we can do a big contribution. Now, net in a sense, what I wanted to highlight, let's be mindful that we are on a opportunity to leapfrog. Let's create a policy environment which helps us leapfrog, and within policy, the ICT on cloud, Internet of Things, mobile, cybersecurity, 4 key areas, and look at a holistic integrated management structure for the management of these programs. So I leave you with these thoughts. Thank you very much for the opportunities, and we'll be happy to take up anything once you have after the presentation. Thanks a lot.